The factory whistle blew. Another day was over. John trudged home, shoulders slumped. He felt lost. The recent plant closure announcement hung over him like a dark cloud. For 20 years John had been a machinist. He knew nothing else. Fear gnawed at him. How would he support his family? John shuffled into his house. The familiar scent of his wife's cooking usually brought comfort, not today. The weight of uncertainty pressed down on him. He saw his children's smiling faces. They didn't know yet. He had to be strong for them. But inside he felt like crumbling. John's wife, Mary, sensed his despair. She held him close. "We'll get through this," she whispered. Her words were a beacon in his darkness. He clung to her, drawing strength from her love, but doubt still lingered. Could he really overcome this? Days turned into weeks. Each day John scanned the job listings, his heart sinking lower with each rejection. The rejections felt personal. Was he too old to learn new skills? Had he wasted his life in the factory? The doubts whispered in his ear, chipping away at his resolve. One evening, John sat with his son Michael. Michael was struggling with his algebra homework. John, despite his own anxieties, patiently helped him. As Michael grasped the concept, a smile lit up his face. "I get it now, Dad, thanks," he exclaimed. A flicker of something stirred within John. That night as John lay in bed he couldn't shake the feeling. He had helped Michael. He had knowledge to share. Maybe he wasn't useless. Maybe there was still something he could offer. A seed of hope, buried deep within, began to sprout. The next morning John woke up with a new determination. He decided to visit the local community college. He had always loved tinkering with things and fixing them. Maybe he could take some courses, learn new skills. It was a long shot, but he had to try. At the college, John felt out of place. He was surrounded by young faces full of hope and ambition. He felt a pang of envy, but then he remembered Michael's smile, the feeling of being useful. He pushed aside his self-doubt and walked into the admissions office. The advisor listened patiently to John's story. He saw the fear in his eyes, but also the flicker of hope. He smiled and said, "We have a great program for electrical engineering technology. It's a growing field and you seem like a perfect fit." John's heart leaped. Could this be his second chance? The first few weeks of classes were tough. John felt like he was back in high school, surrounded by kids half his age. He struggled to keep up with the coursework, the equations and diagrams of foreign language. There were moments when he wanted to quit, to go back to the comfort of his despair. But then he would look around the classroom. He saw the determination in his classmates' eyes, their thirst for knowledge. He realized he wasn't alone in his struggle. They were all in this together, supporting each other. He found himself helping younger students, explaining concepts in layman's terms. John realized that his years of experience weren't a burden, but an asset. He had a practical understanding that his classmates lacked. He could bridge the gap between theory and application. This realization filled him with a newfound confidence. He wasn't just a student, he was a mentor, a valuable member of the class. Section 5. The climb begins. John embraced his studies with a renewed vigor. He spent hours in the library, poring over textbooks, attending every workshop and seminar. He found joy in learning, in expanding his horizons. He even joined a study group, finding camaraderie and support among his classmates. The fear that had haunted him began to recede, replaced by a cautious optimism. He started to see possibilities where once there were only dead ends. He realized that this challenge, this disruption in his life, had awakened something within him. It had forced him to confront his fears, to discover a strength he never knew he possessed. One day, while working on a class project, John had a breakthrough. He devised a solution to a complex wiring problem, a solution that even the professor was impressed with. "Excellent work, John," the professor praised. "You have a real knack for this." John beamed, his heart swelling with pride. He was good at this. He could do this. Life, however, had other plans. Just as John started to feel steady, a new storm hit. Mary got sick. She tried to downplay it, but John knew it was serious. Fear threatened to consume him once again. He was torn between his studies and caring for his wife. John spent sleepless nights at the hospital, holding Mary's hand, whispering words of love and encouragement. He felt his energy draining, his resolve wavering. He confided in his professor, his voice thick with emotion. The professor, A kind man who had seen his share of life's ups and downs simply nodded. "Family comes first, John," he said. "We'll figure something out." True to his word, the professor rallied the class. They shared notes, helped John catch up on missed assignments. The kindness and support of these young people, people he had initially felt so distant from, humbled him. It reaffirmed his belief in the inherent goodness of others. Even in the darkest of times, there were always glimmers of light. Mary's recovery was slow, but she eventually pulled through. John, despite the setbacks, persevered with his studies. He drew strength from Mary's fighting spirit, from the support of his classmates and professors. He knew he couldn't let them down. He had come too far, overcome too much. Finally, graduation day arrived. John, clad in his cap and gown, walked across the stage to receive his diploma. He felt a surge of accomplishment, of gratitude. He had done it. He had faced his fears, climbed the mountain, and come out stronger on the other side. As he looked out at the crowd, he saw Mary's radiant face, her eyes filled with pride and love. He saw Michael, standing tall and straight, a reflection of his own newfound confidence. In that moment, John knew that this journey had transformed him not just professionally but also as a husband, a father, a man. Life after graduation wasn't without its challenges. The job market was still competitive, but John approached each interview with a quiet confidence. He had faced down his fears, he knew his worth, he had skills to offer, knowledge to share, and then it happened. He received a job offer. It wasn't at a factory, but at a renewable energy company. He would be working with his hands, using his newly acquired knowledge to make a difference. It wasn't just a job, it was an opportunity to be a part of something bigger, something that filled him with a sense of purpose. As John settled into his new role, he couldn't help but reflect on his journey. He had started out lost and afraid, but through sheer determination and the support of others, he had found his way. He had discovered a resilience he didn't know he possessed, a capacity for growth that surprised even himself. John's story is a testament to the indomitable spirit that resides within us all. It's a reminder that even in the face of adversity, we have the power to rise above our circumstances. When the path ahead seems dark and uncertain, remember John. Remember his courage, his resilience, his unwavering belief in himself. Life will inevitably throw us curveballs. We will face challenges that test our limits. But it's in those moments of struggle that we discover our true strength. We learn that we are capable of far more than we ever thought possible. So embrace the challenges, learn from the setbacks, and never ever give up on yourself. For within you lies the power to rise above any obstacle, to transform your life, and to inspire others to do the same.